deal. Tom Cotton of Arkansas. Senator Cotton, welcome this morning. What do you make of that optimism from the foreign minister of Iran?
George, it's good to be on with you. Iran is an anti-American terrorist-sponsoring outlaw regime that's killed thousands of Americans from Beirut to Iraq to Afghanistan. And that video that Javed Zarif, their foreign minister, posted over the weekend with its smug, condescending tone shows just how far down the path we've gone towards Iran's position. Iran was negotiating from a position of weakness. And this is not just two businesses negotiating together. This is not like Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks trying to reach a contract that makes everyone happy. Iran should have faced a simple choice. They dismantle their nuclear program entirely, or they face economic devastation and military destruction of their nuclear facilities. Yet, as that video shows, they think they're negotiating from a position of strength and that they hold all the cards.
He goes on to say that those like you who believe that Iran will submit to economic and military coercion are delusional.
If that's the case, they wouldn't have come to the negotiating table to begin with in November. It was actually both the fact of sanctions in 2013 and the threat of even tighter sanctions that drove them to the negotiating table. That's why we shouldn't have let up those sanctions. We should have insisted on the very simple terms that President Obama himself proposed at the outset of this process. Iran dismantles its nuclear program entirely, and then they will get sanctions relief.
You know, some of President Obama's former advisors have echoed at least some of your concerns, but they say that if you get a deal that actually provides for inspections of Iran's military sites, that actually holds up on any sanctions relief until it proves that Iran is meeting the terms of the deal, that it will be a good deal that will give the United States and the world about 10 to 15 years of breathing space. Why isn't that good enough?
Well, George, it is very notable that some of President Obama's own former advisors have begun to walk away from the proposal that he's made. If, in fact, those terms were met, if we had anytime, anywhere inspections, if there was no sanctions relief until there was long-term demonstrable performance on Iran's part, if they fully answered all the past work they've done to weaponize their nuclear program, then that might be a better deal. But that's not the deal we're going to reach. And it also doesn't address the concessions that have already been made, like letting them keep their underground fortified bunker, letting them keep their centrifuges and a stockpile of uranium, letting them keep their ballistic missile program, letting them keep their American hostages, and letting them continue to foment terrorism all around the world and destabilize the Middle East.
Finally, Senator, you said that a U.S. military strike against Iran could succeed in pretty short order, like President Clinton's strike against Iraq back in 1998. But isn't Iran in a better position to retaliate than Saddam Hussein in 1998? And aren't you at all worried that striking out against Iran will actually strengthen our other threat, ISIS?
No, George. It's not the first choice. It's never the preferred choice. But military force does have to remain an option if our diplomacy is going to be credible. President Obama himself said in almost condescending tones just a few months ago that we spend $600 billion a year on our military. Iran only spends $30 billion a year. The clear implication is the fact of the matter that we have unique capabilities and we could destroy Iran's nuclear facilities and their command and control facilities, and all of our allies in the region wish we would take a more forceful position and keep that military option on the table because it would result in a better deal.
Senator Cotton, thanks very much for your time this morning.
Thanks, George.
Turning now to the senior Democrat.